Hello class, today we will be working on our reading lesson number 3. Today we are going to practice reading another story about Kate. First, let's preview the following vocabulary words. Cliff, a steep rock face, especially at the edge of the sea. Example, a path along the top of the rugged cliffs. Rock, the solid mineral material forming part of the surface of the Earth and other similar planets, exposed on the surface or underlying the soil or oceans. Rock. Bone, any piece of hard viscous tissue making up the skeleton in humans and other vertebrates. Expert, a person who has a comprehensive and authoritative knowledge of or skill in a particular area. Example, a financial expert. Someone that knows a lot and masters financials. Okay? Badlands. It's an extensive tract of heavily eroded, uncultivable land with little vegetation. A burrowing plateau region of the western U.S., mainly in the southwestern South Dakota and northwestern Nebraska, south of the Black Hills, known for its harsh terrain. Let's have a look at how this looks. And where are the Badlands located? Here we have a map of the United States, and we can see that the Badland is in South Dakota. And where does South Dakota be located? Is it in the east? No? Yeah, it's in the west. The hike. The title provides us an idea of what the story is about. Have you been on a hike? What kind of things might you see on a hike? Based on the title, what do you think the story might be about? Students, listen to and read the story carefully to find out what Kate and Max find on their hike. The hike. The next morning we went on a hike. After a bit, we stopped for lunch. When Max finished his lunch, he asked, "Can Kate and I look for rocks ourselves?" Jake said, "Okay." "Kate," Max said to me, "bring your fork. We can use it to dig up rocks." I grabbed my fork and we went off to look for rocks. Max pointed at the bump on the side of a cliff and said, "Let's dig that rock out." The rock did not look all that large, but when we started digging, we soon saw that it was larger than it seemed. After a bit, Max said, "Gee, it must be 2 feet long. We've got to keep scratching." We went on scratching with our forks. "Let's tug on it," Max said. We grabbed it and gave a big tug. It popped out, but so a big cloud of sand and dust. Max and I fell down. Once the dust and sand drifted off, I saw Max standing there with a thing in his hands. "It's not a rock," he yelled. "It's a bone." It was the biggest bone I've ever seen. It was 3 feet long. Jake and Nan came running. "Goodness," said Nan, "that was one large bone. Where did you get it?" Max pointed to the spot where he found it. Jake set the bone on the ground. Then he took a picture of the bone and said, "We need to get an expert to look at this bone and tell us what sort of bone it is." So students, after reading, you will answer some questions about the reading. Let's complete the first question together. The first question says, what did Kate and Max want to look for? Kate and Max want to look for lunch. Option 2, Kate and Max want to look for forks. Kate and Max want to look for rocks. Which one do you think is the right answer? So yes, kids, we have to go back and read. Let's go back and read. The next morning we went on a hike. After a bit we stopped for lunch. When Max finished his lunch, he asked, "Can Kate and I look for rocks by ourselves?" Let's go back to our question. What was the question? What did Kate and Max want to look for? Did you get the right answer? Was it for lunch? They were looking for lunch, for forks, or for rocks? Now we know what they were looking for. It says Kate and I look for rocks by ourselves. So we can select now which one is our right answer. And yes, the right answer is Kate and Max want to look for rocks. Okay, now kids, you have to go and complete the rest of your questions. Select the correct answers. You will have 3 opportunities to do so. Good luck, kids. See you then.